It's the Extremist movie debate, and tonight we're talking 2017's Justice League.
Who are you?
I'm Colby.
I'm Ethan, and one of us is going to love it, one of us is going to hate it.
Let the coin decide their fate.
I hate it.
I love it!
Perfect. Suck it, Joe. One of you guys give the spoiler alert.
Sorry, dude. Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, don't find the companion cube, the Allspark, and the Tesseract and get them all together. Just get mad at us and blow up our world, because the spoilers are ahead.
Perfect. That sounds delightful. This movie currently has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, Colby, since you love this film, this first question comes to you. And this question comes from Ann Lee Ellingson from bizjournals.com. Ann Lee says, Justice League feels disjointed as it brings us up to speed on the new characters and solidifies the plot. With a few exceptions, thanks to The Flash and Aquaman, Justice League fails to surprise and delight. The action set pieces should be cooler and the humor funnier. So, with the loss of Zack Snyder's daughter during production and him having to leave, and with post being handled by Joss Whedon, do you feel the film was uneven at all with this plot or tone? You have 1 minute.
Not at all. This is like the ultimate comic book movie. I mean, you got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. It's like the best of the best. Do you remember the old cartoon Justice League Unlimited? It's exactly like that. You finally have like all these great characters teaming up to fight a menace that is big and bombastic, and they're saving the world. And one of the great things about this is it completely course corrects from the other DC EU movies like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. You actually get to see the heroes be heroic. They save the day. Nobody is meaninglessly like murdering the villains. And it's great. They got all the costumes, and the Flash is hilarious. The origins are like tight and neatly wrapped up. It's not like another origin movie. We get so many of those with superhero movies, so they don't even Flash is just completely glossed over.
All right, I'm sorry, I got to cut you off there. I think that's the first time the phrase bombastic has been used on this webcast, so awesome. Ethan, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I think okay, so it's great to get all the characters together and fight some evil menacing force, because we've definitely never seen that before 20 times this year. Sure, and that makes you happy, great, but the characters themselves definitely do need backstory. They definitely do need some sort of characterization. The only person in this movie that stood out at all as an individual was Flash, and then everybody else, it's, they've got eyes everywhere. Batman shows up randomly on a rooftop because a guy is quiet. He's got eyes everywhere. Wonder Woman standing on top of a Statue of Justice because she's got eyes everywhere. Aquaman can hear fish.
Thanks,
He's got eyes
Ethan.
everywhere.
Colby, you have 15 seconds to respond.
Yeah, man, they're superheroes. They're always going to be all over the place. And you don't really need origins with these characters. They've been around for 70 years, some of them. We know who Batman is and Wonder Woman, and even Aquaman. He's the king of Atlantis. That's all you need to know.
All right. Wow, that was good timing. Ethan, you have a final 15?
I mean, that's perfectly serviceable for people that actually do know the comics, but for people that don't, they do want this. And also, you should still have these different characters within this movie, because you still do technically have different characters that are in the comic books. You would imagine that they do have different personalities within this movie, but they don't. They're all exactly the same, and they even look the same because of goddamn color correction.
Thanks, Ethan. All right, and Ethan, this next question comes to you. This comes from fan favorite Armand White of the National Review.
Love him.
Out of his 70 paragraph review, this is what I pulled. Armand says, the schoolyard game of lambasting Snyder's magnificent... All right, let me start over, because it was so stupidly written. The schoolyard game of lambasting Snyder's magnificent Man of Steel and the even more intricate Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice almost directly parallels the unstable breakdown of our political process. And this year's post-election delusional praise for the utterly mediocre Wonder Woman is a symptom of our current political paralysis. So what potential parallels do you think exists in these three movies he talks about? And leading up to the film, and how do they affect Dawn of Justice overall? You have 1 minute.
Absolutely none at all, unless you want to go the opposite direction as Armin White and talk about a group of, heroes taking down essentially this person who's destroying the world. But we don't need to get political about this. The movie does one quick throwaway political thing where they actually almost talk about climate change, then it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie when they talk about the polar ice caps melting and how it might ruin Aquaman's home. Never addressed again. That's cool. So Armin White, I believe, also talks about a lot of sexuality that was in this movie, but not in BVS. Is that correct?
Yeah. While you talk, I'll pull up his review.
Yeah. Well, I guess sure we could talk about this movie has one sexuality thing. As far as Batman gets off a plane, you've got him in the upper right third, and then the lower right third is a nice shot of Wonder Woman's ass and skin tight leather. So that essentially ruins everything that Wonder Woman established. At the end of Wonder Woman, she lands after she Dragon Ball Z's the guy in the sky. Spoilers for Wonder Woman. She lands and her thigh jiggles. That's something that it's nice to see that in a superhero movie about a woman. And this,
all right, thanks, Ethan. And also, we don't need a spoiler. We talked about Wonder Woman. Colby, you have 30 seconds to respond.
That was kind of an odd thing to say. So are you saying that she should feel bad for having a nice ass in that shot? I don't understand.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't know.
Do you want me to interrupt you? Because no, absolutely, she should be very proud of her body. Great, wonderful, but it should also not be glorified to the point of, Wonder Woman is not about sexuality, and Wonder Woman has never been about sexuality, and that is, at least in these established movies, pardon me if it's in the comics. But as far as we, the audience, knows, the casual moviegoer...
All right, I don't know who to give time to anymore. So, before we move on to the 4 minutes, let me... And my phone just crapped out. So go ahead and argue for 4 minutes, and I'm going to find that Armand White quote, and go.
Oh, gross. I think that it's important to say that, Zack Snyder is all of a sudden at the helm, and all of a sudden that is just kind of shit all over. This movie, 2.5 hours before of trying to not sexualize this person, and then immediately, before even the Justice League is assembled, boom.
How is that sexualizing, though? It's just her.
It's simple rule of thirds. You've got, here's the focal point right there. There's the other focal point. Here's Batman walking down a staircase. There's an ass.
She has an ass, so what?
She does have an ass, but you could have framed it,
for God's sake.
You could have framed it any other way. It could have been her feet, it could have been her back. Instead, it was her ass.
Well, so if it was her feet or her back, if it was her feet or her back, you would say that was somehow
in a Hollywood movie, you don't just set up the camera all willy-nilly. They're intending to get what they want in the frame, and they succeed. Speaking of what they got in the frame, can we talk about why Steppenwolf, first off, shouldn't have been in this movie? It should have been Darkseid, but did I do that right? His name was Darkseid?
Yeah, his name was Darkseid.
Should have been Darkseid.
Well, hey, Steppenwolf is Darkseid's uncle. If anything, he's more important to the whole New Gods.
But can we talk about why he was mocapped? Why not just put some grizzly person down there and have him look at least real?
Because he's an alien,
some
CGI
sort of
creature.
It's so much more threatening to have something that seems real and tangible destroying the Earth instead of this guy that looks like it was from 64 video game or something.
He seemed real and tangible to me, just like
glad.
Ultron, just like the Chitauri in the Avengers.
Chitauri that just die like cannon fodder.
The parademons in this.
Even in the beginning, they do the close up of the weird little gnat thing after the guy has fear on a rooftop, whatever, fine. And that thing looks a little bit creepy, and it dies slowly and painfully on a rooftop, and great, and we see it. This movie, the guy's just swinging an axe around. He looks like a character from Soul Calibur, is what he looks like. A mix of that and essentially Loki, because we're talking about Loki in the Avengers movies, and we just have another character that wants to destroy the world while wearing horns, except in that movie, he's real. It's not all CGI. That's nice.
Okay, well,
that was made 10 years ago?
First of all, Steppenwolf has horns in the comics. I don't know what to say.
Great, that's cool. So did Loki, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So does fucking Hellboy.
Yeah,
that was easily 10 years ago.
So are we going to whine about this being like Hellboy now?
No, I'm going to whine about how it's been done decades prior better. I don't understand why you have to mocap this character and make it seem so fake and stupid.
I don't understand why he had to be mocapped either, but I think it looks fine. He looked like a big alien
I think
creature.
that's a very unnecessary way to put the funds for this movie into that stupid endeavor, let alone, how much money did they spend to CGI?
300 million.
300 million?
Total, 300
literally
million.
to CGI out a mustache?
No, 300 million for the whole movie. That would be fucking ridiculous.
Right, okay, good.
I know. I think I heard reshoots were like 10 million, but who cares?
Okay.
who cares about the CGI mustache? I think it looks fine. I mean,
that's fine. You know what?
I didn't even notice.
But what I can understand is I can understand putting the money into that because he's under contractual obligation. You don't want him. You still want him in this movie. You want to add the scenes. Fine, that's your right. Whatever. You're the director. But what you don't need to do is mocap and put a ton of money towards this other guy that inevitably looks like shit and has already been done better prior. Like, it's not like he's this gigantic hulking villain.
He's bigger
He's
than
like
all of them.
20 feet taller than everybody. And even if he was, then we're looking at The Hobbit, where they were able to do the size differences while not CG.
No, in The Hobbit, they were all CGI'd. You're thinking of the original Lord of the Rings.
Frodo? Oh, no, I'm talking about just
it's
hobbits next to Ian McKellen. Okay, but I apologize. The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, sorry to all
Plus
Hobbit
2.
fans out there.
Yeah, hey, God damn it, you get that right.
How'd you guys really feel?
It was all right. It was like painfully average.
I didn't like it at all. It felt derivative of everything that we've seen. Like, I understand you look at the Marvel movies and you think they're all the same plot and you're getting sick of it, but at least like they could be similar in structure and, you know, have a proven formula, but they're still well-made movies. This was never well-made. It felt like it was a mess the entire way. You easily could tell when Joss Whedon took over, especially when all the jokes were ADR. That was unsettling, but that's fine. Like, I think everybody's favorite character is going to end up being the Flash because he was humorous, and so I get why you'd want to add jokes to that, but also the Flash was the best character because he was a character. All the other characters did really nothing in this movie, and let's just go into the end. Let's just talk about Superman being horribly overpowered and just saving the day unnecessarily. It just ends up being he blows ice onto an axe, and then Wonder Woman breaks the axe with, you know, the sword Unbreakable from Kubo. Great. And so then he feels fear and he dies, but couldn't Batman just have like shot liquid nitrogen on it like T2?
Yeah, or used the Scarecrow like.
Oh my God, that would have been great.
Because he used those in Batman vs Superman.
That would have been awesome.
But that's one of the biggest flaws about this movie, is that Steppenwolf's just an awful villain. He's a sidekick at best, and like you had mentioned earlier, if they wanted Darkseid, they should have just used Darkseid, because that's the villain. That's Batman versus Superman, where all of its crappiness was leading to. But for some reason, we went with Steppenwolf instead.
Yeah, I kept waiting for some twist too, because we talked about the Flash coming back from the future in Batman vs Superman, and I kept waiting for this movie to actually do something creative, and instead it just follows an incredibly simple structure. It takes the shitty formula from the Marvel movies, and it actually somehow makes it dumber.
Yeah. And there's not a single surprise in the whole movie.
No, not in the least.
There's no secret characters, no like, it was him the whole time. It's literally just good guys and that one bad guy with his army of insects.
So inevitably, like, the only parts I enjoyed were Ezra Miller, just because I think he did a good job. Yeah. And then also, I really was okay with essentially all the Amazonians playing Keep Away, which is what that scene was, which is dumb when you talk about it and say that out loud, but in the end, it was just something that I hadn't seen before in these movies, and I thought that, they're choreographing a new kind of action scene. Great, at least they're trying. Yeah. That's cool.
And like I think I mentioned to you earlier, for as many issues as this movie has, and all the money wasted on CGI'd upper lips, it's amazing to me how much I can forgive when Batman and Superman aren't just murdering people left and right. At least they save some people, and at least, you know, like, they team up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they team up and they fight the bad guy, and they're not, you know,
almost forgiving each other immediately.
Yeah, and so like the fact that
if that movie didn't need to happen.
Exactly. Like in those moments where I would see a glimmer of the characters that I knew growing up shine through, like, yeah, you know, this isn't so bad. Ignore all that other, like, the 2 hours that came before this. This is actually a pretty good one.
Did it bother you that they also just resurrect Superman and have the exact same conversation in a room that they have in Ultron? About Tony Stark using this alien technology they don't understand to bring about this thing, and everyone's just like, yeah, this is cool, let's do it. And it just bothered me because I think no one in the writer room thought, like, this fucking just happened, and it went the other way. Why should we be doing this?
Only went back to the same goddamn set from Batman vs Superman and Man of Steel, where they make Doomsday. You know, like, I'm so tired of
that was weird.
Seeing that water room. Like, find a better way to bring him back, or just, why do you even need that? How about just write in a line? The mother boxes can bring people back to life. Like, you can do whatever you want, for God's sake.
But it's okay because it also brought Cyborg back to life, which Cyborg's conflict about, I don't want to be alive if I'm this much robot. I'm sorry, but it's kind of bad when the remake of RoboCop did that better.
Yeah. And they even fucked up the timeline on Cyborg's thing.
Did they? How so?
He mentions in the movie that, the mother box came to life as soon as Superman died, and it made me. Well, before that whole fight even happened in Man of Steel, they watched
That's right.
footage of Cyborg being built.
That's true.
So they can't even stick to their own stupid timeline of movies.
Oh, great.
too
Colby
bad.
just myth busted Justice League.
Nah, it's bad because then you just imagine all the hands in the cookie jar behind this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
It's like,
so
at least Zack Snyder, maybe had a vision. I don't know.
maybe.
It was probably terrible, but at least it was a vision.
We'll say that's a loose maybe from what we've seen from Zack Snyder up to this point. All right, so what would you guys rate the film?
4 No Thunder. They accomplished a feat. They made a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say a solid 4, No Thunder. And for me, that's for what I've seen from the
Love
other
comics.
Yeah, well, from what I've seen from the other DCEU movies, that's like high praise for me.
Yeah.
Because if I could give negatives for Man of Steel or Batman or Superman or Suicide Squad, I totally would.
Yeah, I watched Suicide Squad for no reason. All right, Ethan, where can we find us?
We're here on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Request a movie. We don't care. We'll do it. Fuck it. It's Facebook,
Instagram,
Twitter,
Patreon one day when
emg.pantspending.com or artificialwood.pantspending.com.
comicbookmedia.com. That's my website.
Comicbookmedia.com. It's really good.
Yes, thank you to
Thanks
Colby.
for coming on, Colby.
All right.
We did it. We did it.
Yay!
We watched Justice League.
Yeah, suck it, Joe.
We
Good
lived.
night.